So my name's Galen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of GreenChoice. I started GreenChoice a few years back as a solo founder while a graduate student at Brandeis International Business School, just outside of Boston. And it's been a meandering journey with many highs and lows from then to this point. So, I guess I'll go back to really where the beginning and the genesis for the idea, and then kind of fast forward.
Perfect. Sounds great.
So look, I grew up in rural southern Vermont, actually about 10, 15 minutes from where I am currently, in the woods mostly, to two parents that are kind of former hippies. I hit the lottery. I have two parents that I think are pretty much not like empaths by nature. They're both educators. My mom's a school counselor and a therapist, and my dad is an environmental science professor and kind of hardcore environmentalist. And so, what that meant for me as a kid was I grew up with like parents that really had prioritized purpose and impact in their work, and then also in their personal lives, kind of over other opportunities. And so it manifested in little things like, I would getting yelled at to shut off the lights when we'd leave a room, to recycling everything we could possibly recycle, to raising chickens and gardening on our land. And then also thinking about where's our money going. And I think that's like very much the 70s, kind of vibe that they took with themselves. They both kind of fled the cities to go to Vermont because they wanted to be more connected with their community, with an understanding that where their dollars go is really a vote for the world they want to exist. And so growing up in Guilford, Vermont, I had local farmers markets, and I had classmates that were farmers, and we had kind of this conscientiousness and community that enabled us to be really conscious consumers in many ways. Fast forward to me as a grad student. Okay, so I got recruited to Brandeis University to play soccer. I was a varsity athlete, very, very active. And then I spent a year in Peru working on a nonprofit, come back, the nonprofit fails. I'm going kind of fast here, but nonprofit fails, super humbling experience. And it pushed me, I never really loved school, but it pushed me to kind of see if I could get into the MBA program at Brandeis, and I was fortunate enough to get in. And so there I am. I'm working, 12 to 14 hours on a computer every day, less active than I've ever been, and on the hook for grocery shopping because I've been on a meal plan, in school, and even when I was in Peru, like there's so much local affordable food that you can get that's prepared for you. So like really grocery shopping for myself for the first time. And thinking about my health in a new way because I'm not, active in the same way I once was. And I just was so overwhelmed. I would go to the grocery store, and I should add that I've always had food allergies. When I was a little kid, I was allergic to gluten, citrus, rice. That's before anybody was gluten-free, right? So like I saw my mom struggle to do this grocery shopping, and like manage her values amid that. And not only that, but she herself had an understanding as a therapist. I think she was kind of ahead of her time in thinking, understanding that what we eat doesn't just impact our physical health, but it also impacts like our mental health, and was pretty strict around certain things that we wouldn't have in the house. And so that's also, I think, important context, because here I am in the grocery store. I'm now deathly allergic. At that point, deathly allergic to almonds. I had new allergies, deathly allergic to almonds, hazelnuts, still allergic to gluten. And it's like, I got to filter through that. So I'm destined to read every ingredient list, right? Terrible. Just like, what a waste of time, especially when time is precious, right? And then beyond that, I have these values that I'm trying to shop with, right? I want to, buy ethical products. I don't want to support companies that are putting money into places or political campaigns I don't support. I, want to reduce my carbon footprint, but the only thing I know that is like tangible is, okay, don't eat red meat, and I wasn't eating red meat anyway. So, it was like, okay, what next, right? And all of this is just questions that I'm trying to make at a point of decision in the grocery store, right? And it was a nightmare. And my ADD self would be Googling things and looking things up. And I would always leave feeling like I had, made like just one, like there was no peace of mind. Like I wasn't satisfied. I didn't feel like confident that I made the right choices. And I would repeat this every week, and I started to say, there's gotta be a better way. And, talk to some other people, kind of say like, are other people experiencing this? And some people were. And I was very fortunate to be in a class at that time that kind of gave us a Shark Tank prompt. They're like, come up with a business. And so this problem is happening at the same time. And I'm looking at this phone and I'm like, there's got to be a way to leverage this incredibly powerful tool that I have in my pocket that I'm already using for this research, and to basically do the research for me, right? Can we just do this research for you? Can we filter out all that noise? So first, get rid of anything that conflicts with my dietary needs. Two, then shine a light on the things that align with my health, my values-based aspirations, to guide me to really make the best choices for myself. And we started brainstorming around a rating system that could kind of consolidate a lot of that information to quick decisions, and then you could dive into deeper levels of insight as needed. So that was basically the genesis for GreenChoice. Two quick notes to follow that. I'd say the project that I pitched this to, right? I'm like all excited about this. They're like, this sounds amazing. Sounds like a bunch of work. I don't think we should do it. And we voted, and they picked some dumb dating app that they had done some consulting project for and had the numbers for already. And so it got vetted by my group, but I was hooked on it at that point. And I remember talking to a professor of mine who was teaching sustainable business. And I would go once a week and talk to him about this idea. And basically he told me he really challenged the idea of whether we could get the data that we needed to be able to guide these types of choices. And for me, there was really just one way to find out, which was to find out. And so then I kind of got obsessed with proving to him and to myself that we could get the data. And the simple hypothesis was really this, okay, if we go for perfection, it's going to be the enemy of good on this one, right? And look, my research tactics as a consumer are far from perfect, right? I don't have a PhD, right? I don't have a MS. But if I could just take my hours of research that most of us are not going to spend doing, myself included, and turn that into seconds, maybe there's limitations to the data, but that's an incredibly powerful tool. And so that was kind of the hypothesis for GreenChoice. I'll kind of pause there. So that was all connecting with Varun, and then Varun, my co-founder, joined what was actually a year later. So I was still a grad student. I didn't try to bring this to market. We tested things. We started literally with eggs. We would go to the grocery store, take photos of every single package, get an intern to manually enter in all of the information off the package. We developed our earliest rating systems, mapping that to other databases that we manually took off the USDA's data site and National Institute of Health and the EPA and all this stuff. And literally I was known for being I have a professor that still calls me Eggman, because we rated 250 eggs, and we had a site just for egg ratings. And so that's kind of how we started. And and then connecting with Varun, who's a data scientist and engineer, kind of helped us make those systems a little bit more scalable and ultimately bring a mobile app to market, which was, I'll give a quick sense, which is just fundamentally basically a grocery shopping assistant. Two key functions, or really I'd say three. It's search, scan, and list. And so the search piece is, I'm at home, I want to look up products, I want to figure out what should go on my shopping list, I want to build my list before I go to the store. And so I could search and filter for specific stores. And we have built out a database. We've scaled it now to about 340,000 products, food and beverage products, 10 different retailers listed, pricing and availability specific data for 14,000 zip codes across the US. And I could search these, I could filter based on particular dietary preference, and then search to see these screen score ratings, which break down the product's kind of health impacts for me and climate impacts as well, and then compare alternatives. And then I could also be in the store or in my own, you know, kitchen pantry and scan barcodes and then get that same information, and will suggest better alternatives to you whenever available. So that was the shopping assistant. That's what Google Play selected as one of the best apps of 2020 this past December. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, cheers. So that was an incredible honor. But that was like, you know, over 2 years into it. So I mean, it's been a grind. And ironically, amid this recognition from Google Play, a month earlier, we had made an internal team to divert all attention and resources away from the mobile app into building out an online marketplace, and fundamentally had pivoted the business. So it's this weird irony where, yeah, we were getting recognized for this thing that we had basically just said, we're not going to work on this for the foreseeable future for. So we can get into like why we made the pivot, but ultimately we are now prepping to launch a carbon neutral online marketplace, really designed for healthy, climate friendly grocery shopping. You can shop about 3,000 pantry staples and snacks across pretty popular budget friendly retailers. The first 3 stores that we've started with are Target, Walmart, and Walgreens, and we'll be adding to that. And so you can, the experience that I described, filter by 90+ dietary preferences and values, compare these options with using our green score ratings and insights, and then ultimately kind of single click order from one or multiple retailers to have those products delivered right to your doorstep. And then we offset the carbon footprint of your entire cart. So the products in them, the packaging and the shipping, by reinvesting a portion of our revenue into reforestation and wind power projects that we've partnered with. So
Very cool.
That's a brief summary of GreenChoice.
Very, very cool.